This is the Biz News Podcast, one-on-one conversations with experts in business and personal development.
The answer to long-term sales success may not be that always be closing system you've heard about, but rather finding the real needs of a customer and addressing those concerns. So says sales consultant Darleen Priday. She teaches what she calls empathetic sales, a technique that she describes as building relationships, attracting the right clients, and creating a better customer experience. In this edition of Biz News Interviews, Ms. Priday explains her approach to selling and offers tips on how to hire better salespeople. Darleen, let's set the table for our listeners and our viewers by having you tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks, Doug, for having me, first of all. I'm Darleen Priday. I am the founder and CEO of DP Consults, which is a sales coaching business for coaches. I live in Orlando with my husband, Orlando area, with my husband of over 31 years. I have a grown daughter who is 24 and lives in Orlando. And I'm just really happy to be here. Thank you.
How did you get into this line of work?
So I've been in sales for my whole career. My career has taken several twists and turns. I started out in the fashion industry. I was in logistics for a while, which is a tough business for sure. Do not want to go back into that. And then I got into virtual staffing, which I'm still in as well, where we supply virtual assistants, US based, to busy entrepreneurs and leaders. So I am the director of business development there. And through my career, I've talked to so many entrepreneurs and small business leaders that have an amazing offering, but they hate sales. They feel like it's sleazy. They feel like it's inauthentic. They've taken courses which teach them something that doesn't feel right. And so I kept seeing this need over and over again. And that's why I developed this sales coaching business to really come alongside of those people.
You call that, I think, empathetic sales. Would you explain what you mean?
Yeah. So, and I don't know if I made up that term or that was the only word that I can put on it. Whenever, and this has been throughout my career, regardless of what the service or product was, when I am quote unquote selling, I'm really listening and putting myself in that person's position to see what is best for them, what is going to really help them, and what is going to be meeting their needs versus just doing my sales pitch.
Wouldn't that mean you will stretch out the sales timeline almost to infinity?
Well, so it depends, right? So if somebody, I can tell you in my career, I have kept in touch with people for years that have never used me. They know that I am the go-to person. I have a huge network of incredible people. If I'm not the right solution, I can refer them to other people. Sure enough, most of them at some point in their career or in their business will need me for my services. And then they will reach out because they already have that relationship that has been established. So I don't mean keeping in touch with them by spamming them with buy from me, buy from me. But if you create value in every touch point, people know you and they buy from who they know and who they trust.
When the shoe is on the manager's foot, filling the sales opening can often be the toughest thing that they will ever have to do. What do you suggest to those managers who are looking to fill sales jobs?
So I think it's important to understand the mission and vision of your company. Everybody has different goals, and certainly not everyone can operate like a small business. So it just depends on what the expectation is in there. So if those managers know what they want to first of all, be transparent with what the expectations of the role are. What is expected of that person? What does it take to be successful? Have you had success in this role? And what did that look like? Because clarity is so critical to getting the right person. If I was placed in a role where it was just get everybody in the door and sell, 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 I have no interest in that. I'm not your girl. Could I do it? Yes. I don't want to do it. And I'm at this point in my career where I don't have to do it, right? So really being transparent and also looking at the soft skills. Soft skills are so underrated at times. People want to see a resume of how many years that they've been doing this. And while that helps, there are some young people out there that are just so hungry to learn and to be able to really connect with others that they can probably do a better job than someone else that has 30 years experience but is not engaged and disconnected in the role. I think passion, it really boils down to passion.
Pretty hard to find those passionate people, unfortunately. Is it money that will attract them?
So yes and no. So money is always right. It is always a good starting point. You want to compensate people fairly, and that's certainly a motivation, for some. Again, a seasoned professional in my career, money is definitely a motivation, but it is not the ultimate. So, for example, when I took the role as business development for Peachtree VA, I had an open conversation. It was not an interview, it was a conversation with the owner. And I told him how I sell, how I don't sell, what my expectations were. And if I wasn't the right fit, that's fine. He really liked my, transparency, and he wanted to operate in the same way. And in turn, we closed, I closed Q4, no, actually, well, Q1 at 73% above goal, because I'm not shoving it down people's throats and I'm only getting in the right clients.
Sounds almost counterintuitive from the typical thing we imagine of a salesperson. When it comes to a startup business, who's the first person the entrepreneur should hire? Another engineer like himself or herself, or a salesperson?
So I don't think either. So I don't think either. First of all, I have, again, dealing with entrepreneurs, they're always like, I need another one of me. I will definitely say that is the last thing you need. If I had two of me, I'd kill the other person, right? I would not be able to, you want someone who's going to have those skills that you don't have. Or as an entrepreneur, you can do it all at certain points. As a startup, you have to do it all, right? But there are things that are in your zone of genius, and then there are things that are out of your skill set that somebody could do quicker, faster, and all of that type of thing. When you're very new, especially if you have a service-based business, if you're not selling widgets, you are your product. The owner is the product. They're the first point of contact. They're the ones that people are going to build the relationships with, and they're going to be why someone buys from them. And that's where I can come in and help, because usually it's just a lack of confidence or preconceived notions of sales that get in their way. By having those processes developed and giving them the confidence and equipping them with the right methods, they can sell. But that's where a virtual assistant is really your next best hire. Somebody who could do all of the minutia, keeping you as the visionary, keeping you as the person in strategy, and not working in the business, but be able to work on the business.
Now, by virtual assistant, you're not talking about artificial intelligence, are you? Or
I
maybe you
am
are.
No, I am not. So I do know, with ChatGPT and all these different things, I mean, artificial intelligence is not what it used to be. With Peachtree VA, we have US-based virtual assistants that are highly vetted, highly qualified. They go through skills assessments, background checks. This is, again, when you are a solopreneur, your next best hire. If you need someone to interact with anyone on any level, you need high quality. Somebody who doesn't have the same skill set as you, but has the same vision and wants and understands your tone, what your company culture is, what you are providing. So every interaction that anyone has with them would be a great reflection on the owner.
Darlene, as you look back on your career, what was the toughest thing you had to overcome to become a successful sales coach?
So I don't think being a successful sales coach necessarily was the biggest challenge in my career. I think the biggest challenge in my career, and I think that's why I can coach people well, was when I was younger, taking courses, listening to how people thought they were seeing successful people and trying to be that person versus going by my instincts and making my role my own. So I think that not having the confidence or just the experience to really say, because as you mentioned, a lot of the things that I do are very counterintuitive. So to other people, it looks like I might be doing it wrong, but I've been successful. But when you don't have a track record and someone who appears to be successful is saying, this is how you always be closing, you have to sell ice cubes to Eskimos and all of that type of stuff, I felt like, oh, maybe I'm on the wrong track. But sure enough, every time I came back to center, that's when I had success.
Darlene, you have been very generous with your thoughts and observations. What would you like to uh, mention to our viewers and listeners that we haven't gotten to yet?
I would say, trust your instincts, be authentic to yourself. Definitely learn from different people, but it is not a one size fits all. Taking in that information, gleaning the good. If it doesn't feel authentic to you, discard it. It doesn't matter who's successful. It doesn't matter what they say. And really seeing, it's a journey. Careers are journeys, life's journeys, but I would say that don't discount people that are younger, because I think that they can add a lot of value and a lot of fresh perspective. I think you have to look at the heart. I think you have to look at the soft skills and the passion behind it. And I would much rather have somebody who's willing to learn and eager and hungry than someone who is apathetic.
And one last thing, and that is, do you have a website or some way for people to get in touch with you?
I do. My website is dp-consults.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn, Darleen Priday, and it's Darleen. And I also can be reached through peachtreeva.com. So any way you want to reach out, I will get back to you.
You've been watching the Biz News Podcast. We welcome your input. Send your email to editor@biznews.com. Thanks for watching.